Now underway as we welcome Chris Johnson, an alumnus of Delta State University. Hey, Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
Going great. So you sent me a note yesterday calling my attention. Someone recommended you do so, just giving the audience a little background here, calling my attention to an analysis that you had written on social media about the situation at Delta State with Dr. Ennis taking action there in an attempt to stabilize the university's finances. You did a lot of research on this issue and wrote extensively. I read a fair amount of what you penned there. It was comprehensive, to say the least. But you have apparently some strong feelings on this. And tell us first about your background as an alumnus, and also your family has very strong ties to Delta State.
Absolutely. So I'm just like a lot of people there in Mississippi and there in Cleveland. We've got extensive backgrounds that are tied to the university, not just going to the university and graduating from the university, but family members and that went there. But also my father taught there for 30 years. My mother worked at the university. And again, I'm just one of many. There's so many of us that have these types of backgrounds. And as I laid out in my article, and I give you credit, it's about 3,500 words, so I'm not surprised you didn't read everything. But I call it an article now because that's what everybody else has been calling it. But I grew up on campus there at Delta State and met my wife there, all that jazz and everything. So that's my background as it relates to university. And so when I saw this announcement yesterday, or Monday now, I decided I needed to see what was going on. I honestly haven't been back to Cleveland in 5 years, since before the pandemic. So I felt like I needed to familiarize myself with what was going on. And so I decided, all right, let's dig in and see what's going on. And that's when I realized that the announcement that was made on Monday focused on what was being cut and what was being eliminated. And so I thought it was incumbent upon somebody to talk about what's left. I even saw comments from people about what's left. One of my good friends even made a comment: if we're getting rid of the math and the English and the history, what's left? What's left of education if you get rid of this? And so I thought that was important. Now, I will say that one thing I didn't touch on, fair warning to everybody, there's a part 2 coming tomorrow. I didn't touch on the personal impact, because there's going to be some personal impact on this, on people there in the community and there on campus. And so that's definitely something I want to make sure that we focus on as well. So, because I could have been one of those people impacted by it in the past 30 years, but I luckily never was.
Yeah, he goes to great detail on his thought process on the decisions that were made, and again provides granular information about some of those decisions that were made and why they were necessary. And folks, when you see something like that, of course, and you hear announcements like this, I think there's a tendency to kind of avoid digging into the details and sort of staying at the high level and kind of reaching your own conclusions. And you took the time to actually analyze his report and then clarify, I think, and perhaps provide some thoughtful and accurate analysis on the actual actions that were taken. You want to just kind of share that with the folks? It just feels like that what you wrote there, Chris, it turns out maybe not quite as bad as what met the eye initially.
Yeah, so I'll say what I've had to say has become a refrain of mine the past 2 days pretty much is, everything that I put up there's the public information that's out there. I don't have any inside information. I don't know how the meetings went down. I don't know how the review process or any of that went. So, all of my commentary or if you want to call it reporting is about what's been made available. And all right, let's dig into that. We understand that there's a lot of programs that are going to be eliminated. And as I mentioned earlier, that's going to have an impact on a lot of people. That's going to have an impact on a lot of faculty and a lot of staff. And but at the same time, we need to. It's important to look at the other side. That while we may be eliminating these 20 odd degree programs that were supporting, I believe the number was 238 students. There's these other 40 programs that are supporting or are being of service to, I believe, 2,100 to 2,200 students. And, we didn't get here overnight. There's a lot of blame to go around about how we got to this, whether it's previous administrations or, even the Institutes of Higher Learning, they've got a responsibility here as well that, hey, what's going on with these degree programs? They're not producing. How did we let this get by for so long? Like the data that was presented, it shows the 10-year trend, the 3-year trend, so on and so forth. And again, it didn't just happen overnight. It's not the first time that we've had to do these either. And one of the pieces of information that I found and that I'm curious to learn more about is that there was a lack of regular program reviews. I can't remember the exact quote, but and then there was a professor that was quoted in another publication that said they don't recall the last time they were asked to review the productivity of their department, and they've been there for over 20 years. And I come from a family of academia, and so I know you have to do these types of things, and if they're not being done, it's just like anything. If you ignore it, it's going to keep festering, and that's how we got here. And it's unfortunate, that this is Dr. Enos's responsibility and the current administration's responsibility. As an outsider looking in, when he was hired, I had no insider knowledge. My assumption, he was hired to do one primary thing.
Yeah.
Because the previous administrator was let go early for a reason, and they brought somebody in to do a certain thing.
And he took that action, apparently. So you dig into some detail about the perceived loss of positions versus the actual. You want to share that with the audience?
So that was focused on the more of the staff, as far as and not so much the faculty, because the faculty is still I believe within, if I remember correctly from what I've read, within the next few months we should have somewhat clear idea of the faculty. But the loss of staffing positions, I believe it's 73 were listed as positions that are going to be quote unquote eliminated, and a lot of those are ones that have been vacant for a while. And I already knew, I'd already heard from people on campus that positions were vacant and they weren't being filled. So when you hear that, months ago, you know what's happening. Like, this isn't the first time that we've seen this happen at the university. We've unfortunately we've lost journalism, we've lost poli-science, we've lost previous programs. So when you start to see these trends, you know what's going to happen. Again, so can't speak to what it was like in the meetings or anything like that, but that's where we are. But 73 positions, I think it was 49 were already vacant.
Yeah.
So those are positions that aren't, there's not someone currently in that position that's being impacted. And then there's other positions that there are people that are the director of student affairs, assistant director of student affairs. These are currently filled positions that are being impacted. Those are individuals, those are families. So there are people that are going to be impacted. But I just wanted to bring attention. It's 73 positions, but I think it's 17, if I remember correctly. It's either 7 or 17.
And then some new ones added, correct?
Yeah, there's new ones added. And I do have some concerns as well. Just like everybody, I've got some concerns and questions. There's some positions that are being eliminated where I don't readily see a comparable role, but there does appear to be comparable roles for many of the ones that are being eliminated. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what we have coming out over the next few months. I want to encourage anybody. I've had a lot of people reach out to me. If you've got questions, concerns, anything you want to share with me, reach out to me. I'm on Facebook. I've had some people come out with some angry stuff. I've had a parent reach out to me asking, can you help me find the teach out policy? How are they gonna end the program? So I helped them find it.
Yeah.
So if anybody's got anything, just reach out to me.
We got to go.
I want to encourage an open discussion.
Appreciate it, Chris. Chris Johnson, Delta State University alumnus. Thanks for coming on. We got Dr. Enos on Monday, I believe, so we look forward to that interview. Thanks.
I look forward to it. Thank you.